call the Russell County Commission to order, and we have Reverend Lawrence Jefferson, pastor at Phillips Temple, and he is going to lead us in our invocation. If we'll rise, please, and remain standing for the pledge to the flag, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Reed to lead us.
May we bow our heads. God, you are the higher power and authority of all your world and order. We appeal to you to minister and manifest yourself in all of humankind's operation of life. Help guide our daily governing and operations for our county's business through this governing body. Their job and responsibility are very complex and awesome. Continue to give them vision, insight, wisdom, confidence, spirit, dignity, intelligence to function and operate well and always at their best. Bless our county, our city, and bless and keep each one in your perfect will and care. For we ask only in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. I do want to thank Cable TV and the Citizen News for covering our meetings each time. We appreciate their good community service.
Miss Owen, what happened to the book without a pen and pencil?
We just have one item.
I've been told I can't be heard.
That's true.
Okay. Oh, all right. We do have public comments, and Mr. David Ellis will approach us, please, with his comments.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here representing the Planning Commission. And as y'all know, I'm sure that the Planning Commission was established in July 31st, 1995. It was established by the legislature to do subdivision rules and regulations, master plans, and zoning regulations, which we don't have any zoning. All this is on the commission approval. We worked back in, probably started in 2010, 2011, working on a comprehensive plan with Goodman Mills and Kaywood. A lot of work went into this with the department heads, the commission, the planning commission, getting this plan done, and it was adopted in 2012. Well, in 2014, the planning commission updated these regulations, which is part of our job according to the state legislature. And in doing this, the commission has tabled this and never looked at it. 4 years later, 2014, no action has been taken. So as a planning commission, we work for free, and we put a lot of work in this. And we need to keep this thing updated. It needs updating again now because it's 2 years later. But if we're not going to look at it and do anything, then we don't need, excuse my language, is not hurt anybody's feelings, waste our time in doing this, because there's a lot of work, hard work that goes in this on our own free time. So I'm here today to ask the commission, do y'all want us to continue to update this? Or are we just going to drop this plan and 4 or 5 years down the road we're going to pay somebody again a large sum of money to redo another comprehensive plan? I'm here for guidance, is what I'm here for. If y'all want us to continue to update this thing, that's great. We'll be glad to do it. But we need y'all to look at it and adopt it and make changes or whatever y'all need to do where we can keep it up to date.
David, and I know we probably had it, but it's been so long. Leanne may still have it, but could we have a copy of the changes?
Yes.
And with the new changes that you proposed?
We haven't done any new changes. We've done those changes in 2014.
Okay.
It's 2016 now. We really need to do changes again to update this thing to get it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff been done in the county
But
those 2
all we,
years.
you know, we don't need a copy of the whole comprehensive plan,
I understand.
just the changes.
I agree. Now, that's what we gave y'all in 2014 was changes, and no action has been taken on those changes.
Sometimes you have to push us a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm here today for.
David, I'd like to see us get on the agenda again and talk about the changes as well.
It needs to
instead
be
of us
on the
just
agenda,
reading
but
it
I just,
and then making a decision, because I know one reason, it seemed like there was some pushback in one topic, and I can't remember what the topic was right off the top of my head. I don't want to misquote it. But I think if we're going to adopt something like that, changes to that plan, that it should be a very public thing. So
Yeah,
let's get it back on the agenda and start talking about it again.
That's why I
I
said,
don't
let's
have a
get,
problem with that whatsoever. We just need guidance. Do y'all want us to go ahead and update this thing again, or we can bring the updates to y'all?
Well,
new
I think
updates?
so. I think before you
Because
bring
the
it to
ones
us
you
and we
got
do
now,
it, if it's already old, go ahead and bring us the new changes and let us look at it. And
That's the guidance we want. If y'all gonna look at it, we don't have a problem doing it.
good.
I mean, we spend a lot of time doing this, and our work is, like I say, is for free. Like before, we worked with y'all and everybody else on to try to get this thing adopted, and I appreciate it. And I got one other thing right quick, like,
Yes.
go to Samuel.
Yeah, we're going to Samuel.
I have a heartburn with the PJ. I live in the PJ, and I'm here for guidance again. I pay taxes for the PJ that I didn't want. And I know y'all have no control over the PJ. I understand the city moves their city limits according to the action that the people take that want to be in the city limits. Therefore, the PJ comes out further. Well, I moved where I moved to stay out of the city. Didn't want no part of it. Well, now, I'm a part of the city, but I have no representation. To me, it's taxation without representation. Do y'all have any guidance of what the citizens can do to try to bring the PJ back to the city limits and relieve us? The only thing they do for us is police protection that I know of, and I'm gonna call William if I need any police protection. I'm not gonna call the city. I'll just be honest with you.
David, that is a heartburn with a lot of folks, but I think with the recent legislation by our legislators, we need to stop and look at what effect that's going to have. That being, they have to be accountable and have to show how they spend the money they collect. Everything that's collected inside the police jurisdiction has to be spent in that jurisdiction. So with that coming about, I think the city will realize that they cannot any longer wash everything in the police department, and they're going to be owing the county money at the end of the day. So I think the city will open up at some point, especially after the elections, to some talk. But the PJ, the answer at the end of the day is that you would, a citizen in Russell County that lives there would have to sue over the constitutional rights to vote.
If I was rich, I would.
And again, David, real quick, you know that we do not have the power as a commission body to change that.
Yes.
But our legislators do. So I think you should reach out to the legislators, make your feelings known. I think that's one step for sure, because I don't agree with the police jurisdiction either. I never have agreed with it. In fact, years ago, a legislator passed a law that prevented them from even writing speeding tickets by radar inside the police jurisdiction. So the services we're receiving are only responding to calls or an observed traffic violation. So I don't agree with it anyway. I don't agree with us paying money, and you brought up the best point that I've heard, and I've brought this up several times in the past, is the fact that you are being regulated by an organization or a government body that you do not elect the representatives to, and I do think that's wrong. So I think you need to talk to your legislators. You know, I'm not against the city. I love Phoenix City. I think it's a great place, and I think anything we can do to make Phoenix City better as well as part of the county, we should. Police jurisdiction is something that was, well, it's 100 and some years old, and
Let me
it
ask
needs to
y'all
be
a question
changed.
as a commission. If the citizens inside the jurisdiction get up a petition that we would like to see it pulled back, could we present it to the commission and the commission write a letter to the legislature? I think it'll be more powerful that way than it will be me calling it.
I think that's,
I would support
I think that is a first step, but also, speaking with the legislators, they would want to know the input from the county commission.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, it's going to take more than legislative action. It's going to take some strong, maybe lawsuits or something to correct it.
Well, that's already been tested in court, and we lost.
We lost because they said it wasn't timely about what we were doing, and it was going to harm. That was over the annexation.
Well, no, we had the police juice.
No,
Yeah,
it was
we had.
annexation through the lasso effect, and they
That-
said that, but that gave them the jurisdiction in that area.
But we had another case, Tillman, you may not have been on the commission then, I don't know. But we had another case where the city actually pulled the police jurisdiction back to the city limits. They did away with it. That was when Mr. Brandon was on the city council. And then it was the firecracker people took us to court, and we lost.
They won't be a part of the city, and nothing you can do about
I
it.
can't hear because the commissioner's talking today. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'll say it again, is when Mr. Brandon was on the city council, they, as a city council, pulled the police jurisdiction back to the city limits. That caused a lawsuit by the firecracker people, both of them, and we lost. So I don't know the answer to you, David. It's not something, I mean, we all agree with you, and it's something that's, the only way that it's going to ever be changed is the state's going to have to change the law. And we could probably do it by a local bill, I don't know, but the city, as you know, will fight it, because even this new law where it says they have to justify their expenditures, well, they will. There's no doubt about it, they will. I mean, how much, they'll say they have 3 police cars on patrol out there 24 hours a day. How much does that cost? You know, I don't know, but they will justify it, believe me.
Well, then the guidance, do y'all have a problem with getting a petition?
We don't have a problem doing that, no.
And doing that? Okay. Thank you for your time.
I, as chair, want to call on Mr. Lunsford because he has a unique situation in the neighborhood there. He lives on Old Crawford Road.
The only thing I say, excuse me, I didn't know I was going to be talking. Good evening.
Good morning.
I know that I have to pay city taxes, and I'm forced to do so even though I don't want to. I come into town and I want to vote and have my representation. I told them, and they told me I can't do it because of the county line road. I can take a rock at the bottom of the hill and toss it up and hit my city limits. We have city water. Some of the pipes are knocked over. Somebody hit one of the fire pipes and knocked it over. It's out of commission, yet they've left it there and it's been there for 3 or 4 months. Nobody's tried to correct it. That's the city. But again, they're not doing what needs to be done because I got county pickup. I've got county everything except water. We have the police, they do come out there, but I've heard they have no jurisdiction. Actually, I don't know. So it just, why can't we, if we're going to be in the city, let's be in the city and have representation. If we're not, then let me know what to do there. But we're in 2 ways not being corrected. And we need to either be in or be out. And I'm just trying to figure out, are we given the permission for them to just take over the land and do as they want to? Because they went all the way around us. They've been all the way around us, and we have no jurisdiction. But out there at Ladonia, the market out there, that's city, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they've run the water around it. It's come all the way around us, but we're like in a hole, and nobody wants to help us. So yes, I would feel like maybe a petition or something would help out. That's all I'm trying to comprehend and bring us up to some sort of standard also, instead of being the lost child.
Right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Lunsford, and we appreciate you serving on the Plan Commission.
Thank you.
Belinda, I had welcomed and thank you all for being here to report to the citizenry about our meetings, and we appreciate that. And I do want to say welcome to the elected officials, the department heads, our guests, and the media, of course. And we appreciate the pastor of Phillips Temple being here, and we would love to have you back anytime. Would you call the roll, please?
District 1 Lee.
Present.
District 2 Pugh.
Present.
District 3 Martin.
Here.
District 4 Reed.
Here.
District 5 Epps. District 6 Corbett.
Here.
District 7 Scrivens. We've established a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Due to our holiday this past Monday, Jefferson Davis Day, we did not have a work session, so I need, if you've looked at your agenda, I need to have a motion, please, to approve.
I haven't had time to read them.
Madam Chair, before I make the motion to approve, I wanted to ask one question because I heard some conversation earlier this morning that since we got two commissioners out, we may not have the executive session. If we're not, then we don't need to approve it. If we are, then it's okay. So, Mr. Funderburk.
Actually, that's with the Personnel Review Board, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if they're here or not, so I need some guidance on whether they are here and whether they want to proceed.
Hey, Mr. Funderburk,
Who are here?
we're gonna have to reestablish the Personnel Review Board because we got quite a few people. It's not active on the board. I'm gonna have to change my appointment as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's up to, I'm calling it if they want to proceed, y'all want to proceed and the board is here and can function otherwise.
Well, I don't know how the other commissioners feel, Mr. Funderburk. I'd like to cave it
Madam Chair,
until we get.
I don't know what it's about.
Well, none of
Obviously,
it-
Commissioner
none-
Reed does. I don't know what it's about.
No.
What's this even
Personnel
about?
Review Board, actually, we have it on the mind because
Yeah.
we were going to let them meet today if they're here to meet now. I'm not sure where.
Are you asking for, or are you suggesting an executive session to talk about the Personnel Review Board or talk about an employee? Is that what it's,
No, it's
I don't
a
even know
case,
that.
it's actually a case, but it comes before the
Oh.
Personnel Review Board.
Okay.
We put it in this slot, and I don't know, even if you call for it, it'll happen.
Madam Administrator needs to
Madam
speak.
Chair, it's twofold, actually. One is to reestablish the board, whether we go forward and the commission approves to go forward with the review and executive session of the employee request for a personnel review board. So therefore, the commission, if they're ready to proceed, needs to reappoint a few members on the board. Secondly, the next request is to go in executive session so that the facts can be presented for the request for a personnel review board, and the commission will determine at that time whether it should go to the personnel review board.
Well, the first item that you mentioned should be held in open meeting. It's not executive session, whether we, if we have to reappoint members, this term has expired. The second one, by us not really knowing what we're doing or talking about, we don't know. I mean, has there been a request from an employee to have a hearing before the Personnel Review Board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, is that something we normally do in executive session?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well,
For
your
non-appointed or elected.
recommendation, but it sounds like to me we might not be ready. I mean, that's, to be honest with you. Now, you may be ready to make the appointments.
Well, that's
You
on
know,
the,
and if you
yeah, that's
did
under
that,
business.
We
so.
would probably need to not have, I mean, we're sort, maybe a week or a meeting ahead of ourselves.
My question becomes, if we've got the review board, which has been in place before and has been used,
Yeah.
why would anything come to us without going to them?
The policy, the current policy
Policy
requires
says
the
we give
commission
them permission.
to review it, the request, and to, whether to approve it going or deny it.
But
Yes,
at
sir.
this point, I say we need to reestablish the board and then go into executive session. Let's move on.
It would be easier for us to do it that way. So we just take this off the, I recommend I take it off the agenda.
Okay, then I'd make the motion then to approve the agenda with removing the attorney's executive session.
Okay. All right. That one item deleted, do I hear a motion to approve?
I just did that.
Who made the
All
motion?
right.
No one seconded it yet.
Okay,
I
second.
second it, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
We move on.
Will you poll the commission?
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
Agenda approved.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the minutes of May 25th that we need to, hopefully you have read, and have a motion to present to approve.
Have y'all read the minutes?
Well, I'm looking for them.
I mean, I looked through them too, but I don't feel comfortable. I just saw.
What do you got? It was a short meeting, shouldn't be that difficult.
Were they,
Well,
We've had email problems. They've been bad.
All
Well,
I
we
know,
had the
all I
public
remember is Mr.
abatements.
Friend beat us out of $10,000. That's all I remember.
9,000.
Yeah, but that was just a start. I move the minutes be approved. I mean, it didn't take long to read them.
yeah, I mean, I'm almost,
and this takes care of public hearing minutes and then the regular meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Did we have a second?
Mr. Corbett?
Okay.
you can go. I'm almost finished.
District 1 Lee?
Did we get a second?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Kinda.
Second. There you go.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
Minutes approved.
Thank you. No proclamations or resolutions at this time. No discussion items. Business items, we do have our coroner here, Coroner Sunbury, and he has presented a letter from Judge Michael Bellamy for a citizen to be cremated, and the charge to the county up to $400.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
And a second. Thank you. We poll the commission.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes,
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
Approved.
thank you. Now we have the Personnel Review Board appointments. You should have a list in your packet. I have one that I need to appoint, and I have talked to the gentleman, and he is in District 3, in the Bridgewater District there, Bobby Cook. And I think, Mr. Reed, you have one.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, yeah, I'd like to go ahead and appoint.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
A point of order, if you don't mind. Because some of these appointments are delinquent and have not been appointed in a timely manner, I'm asking now, when does the term start and when does it end? It's all toe-pangled in here.
Yes, sir. Because that's why we're trying to reestablish the board. Fortunately, we haven't had the reason to have a personnel review board where those have been managed and worked out within the departments. So when we received this request, we were going to activate the board and realized at this point that some of the terms had expired. So it would take place at the point of going forward for 6 years, once you make that appointment. And we'll readdress the date.
And I got a question too, and I'm sure it's just the typographical part of the form that you gave us. But shouldn't term begins be where expires is, and expires should be over the red? Because I just appointed Mr. Cox just a couple of years ago.
I can check with Beth and see. I'll be glad to.
Yeah, that's just the typo.
I think those are out of line. I think term should be over the numbers, and then term begins over the next column, and then expires over the red.
Yep.
So my appointment is still valid.
Right.
Madam Chairman,
All the rest of them look like, well, it's like,
Mr. Paul Godwin, at this time, I'd like to reappoint him. I've spoken with him, and he's agreed to serve.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I'm gonna have to change my appointment because the person that I did have on Personnel Review Board, they moved out of town. So I'd like to appoint Kelsey Parker.
Okay. His last name?
Parker.
Parker.
say that, somebody.
Yeah, can you spell that?
Kelsey Harper.
Kelsey Parker.
Kelsey
Parker.
K-A-L-F-E-E Parker, P-A-R-K-E-R.
Okay.
And also Commissioner Alps requested to inform the commission that she would like Willie James McCoy to continue serving, which she already has on the list as well, if that's acceptable with the commission.
Well, we don't vote on this, do we?
No, ma'am.
No,
You
no,
don't
this
vote.
is just
It's
individual.
So she
Commission
can
have
put
their own
who she
appointment.
wants.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
for District 6, I'm going to appoint Marcia Johnson for that position.
Marcia Johnson,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
How does she spell Marcia?
Marsha.
Okay.
Is that not right?
That's right.
Marcia. I couldn't remember that.
Yeah, there's two
Marcia,
different
yeah.
ways. Okay,
She answers either way.
Yeah, that does look right after I wrote it.
Still says Marcia.
and Mr. Screws, his is still inactive, so it'll be December when his comes out. Okay, moving on.
If y'all would then just
Let me
put
ask
on
one
the
question.
agenda, the next meeting, we'll do have the commission.
Go into the
meeting,
executive
the
session.
executive
Okay.
Got it.
You mentioned that Mrs. Epps wanted to reappoint James McCoy. Did you make that appointment for her? Is that what I heard?
No, she
No,
was
she
talking.
just wanted me to inform the commission that she had spoke with him and he'd like to continue serving.
Well,
on
she
the
can
We're
do
not
it the
taking
next,
any action on that. She has to do that.
she do it at the
herself.
next meeting.
Right, I was just letting you know her
I
appointment.
just wanted clarity on it.
No. I was just, and she asked me to deliver a message. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. Madam Administrator, you have the
I
back
do.
to school.
Yes, ma'am. It's time for the commission to approve, if you so choose to do so, the 2016 back-to-school sales tax holiday, August 5th through the 7th, 2016, will be when it will take effect, and we need to have this resolution in by July 5th, 2016, if you so approve it today.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
It's one of those things you can't do without. You get beat up too bad.
District 1, Lee.
Yes.
District 2, Pugh.
Yes.
District 3, Martin.
Yes.
District 4, Reed.
Yes.
District 6, Corbett.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Funder, do you have anything else to add?
No way, I'm clear today.
Okay. All right, and we thank Ms. Carolyn Robinson for putting in our packet a personnel report of jobs. And we do have several announcements I've got in hand. One is printed, is the June 9th, which is tomorrow, is the Boy Scout Distinguished Citizen Award Dinner, in which Dr. David White will be honoree there. And we are invited to go. We were requested as a commission body to make a contribution, and I talked with the regional director, Mr. Hennington, and told him that we did have, in 2014, we made a contribution of $500, and that was when our sheriff was honored. But I'm asking, and I have done this, I've made a personal contribution. I plan to go to the dinner, and I'm asking you if you would make a personal contribution. I've heard that Boy Scouts does not help us over here, but I was corrected on that. They do. They do help. Fort Mitchell has Girl Scout down there, Boy Scout too. And in the
They
city,
get money out of Columbus.
in fact, Somerville Baptist Church has a scout group.
We also have an
Fire Explorer. So some of it does stay here. This gentleman is in charge, like, it's Chattahoochee Valley, even up to Chambers County, Lee County, and all around. And he tries to share. It's hard to get volunteers to work without compensation. And so some of that does go, I understand, to pay for some of their time that's spent with the girls and boys. But anyway, that's for tomorrow, as well as, let's see, on Thursday noon, 12:15 rather, we received a letter, and it wasn't individually addressed to each commissioner, but you are invited to the luncheon, and this is the annual Lunch on the River with the faculty and staff rafters of the city. and I'm presuming educators in the county, but you are invited to the noon hour for hamburgers on the river there.
Would that be behind Troy or in that area,
I think it is.
or the hotel,
It
What was that date?
says,
on the bridge?
yes, on the walking bridge, whenever that gets to be. But on the 13th of
I
June,
can't go anyway.
Columbus Chamber of Commerce is inviting us as citizens to their meeting concerning, they've had the Matrix Design Group to study the community and the impact Fort Benning, City of Phoenix City, Russell County, Muskogee County, consolidated government, even out into Harris County. They want to bring us up to date what's going on. So you're invited for that on June the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the chamber in the Saunders boardroom. And also, we have now 2 marketplaces. The Russell County Farmers Market, they are down at Activity Center behind the building there from 7:30 to noon.
On
And they're
Wednesdays.
going to be on Thursdays at the Garrett Harrison Stadium from 3 to 6 p.m. So that helps people that can't be there in the morning hour who work, and I think that's great of them to do that. Ms. Florence Bellamy sent us a personal invitation for the its legal definition of adult drug use, and we're going to hear from our local law enforcement and attorney Ken Davis, district attorney, and Rick Chancey, Chief Ray Smith of the Phoenix City Police Department, our Sheriff Taylor, and this is going to happen on June 15th, which is a Wednesday. We don't have a meeting that day. It's the 22nd, I believe. Okay. That'll be at 9:30 to 1 p.m. down at the Activity Center. So it's making us aware of elder abuse that goes on in our city and state and country. I think that's all I have, unless you all have something to announce. I believe I covered everything.
Well, the only thing I'm surprised Commissioner Corbett didn't bring it up, but we do have a hole at the courthouse in Seal where we hope there'll be an elevator in there, but it's a big hole.
A little over 4 feet deep, and the plan is, it's actually fast tracking. The plan is a ribbon cutting on Labor Day. So
On Labor Day?
Plan.
That's good.
So.
Okay. That'll be a hallelujah day. How many years? 30 years it's been
About
working?
30 years they've been raising money for that, so we're going to be very
Okay.
proud to see it happen.
Okay. If that's all, we're not going into executive session, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I got one. You see it already?
Good.
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
We adjourn.